Australia ticked over $1 trillion in debt this week, with taxpayers now spending more to pay off the interest than we do for the army, childcare or unemployment benefits. Our interest bill is approaching $30 billion a year, making it one of the biggest expenses in the federal budget. But compared to other countries such as Germany, the US, the UK and Japan, Australia's debt remains relatively low. Let's bring in Health Minister Mark Butler and Deputy Opposition Leader Jane Hume. Good morning. Mark, Jim Chalmers has lauded our AAA credit rating, and we know debt has climbed under both coalition and Labor governments. Surely $1 trillion is a milestone you don't want to make, though.
Yeah, good morning, Nat. Can I say, first of all, that conversation between Shervo and Richo was really powerful and really important. But this is a big headline number, there's no question about it. We also need to put it in international context. As that graph just showed, our debt is much lower than other countries we compare ourselves to. But there's a constant task of governments to manage that debt, get it down as much as possible, try and find ways to deliver savings in budget so we can have things like the back-to-back surpluses we delivered early in our term. We've got debt down by almost $200 billion against the projections that we inherited back in 22. But there's more for us to do. We delivered $60 billion of savings in this year's budget. More than three-quarters of that came from my portfolio. So we're all doing what we can. But we want to make sure we have the best budget possible to set up the future of Australia in the best possible way.
Yeah, Jane, when you look at it over the last, 20 years, we've had the GFC, we've had COVID, we've had a lot of boomers retiring, we've had the NDIS, like Mark said. So it's been over a long time and it's been climbing. What is your solution? What would you be doing?
Well, the most important thing is that we make sure that the next generation doesn't have to pay for the profligacy of this generation. I mean, let's face it, at the moment, it would cost you around $20,000 of paying down a debt every single hour, and it would still take 100 years to pay down Labor's debt today. Now, the Labor government has received $400 billion in windfall revenue gains just in the last 4 years. And it's all been spent. It's gone. Not only that, but their budget says that they are expecting deficits in every year for the next decade. Now, people at home know that if you've racked up a debt, you don't keep spending on your credit card. But that's exactly what Labor are doing. Now, only the coalition has a plan, a genuine plan to pay down debt, a future generations fund that will allow Australians to use our sovereign wealth from resources to make sure that we're paying down the debt for the next generation. That is the only solution. But Labor doesn't have a plan to pay down debt. They only have a plan for more deficits and more debt. And that's going to cost the next generation, your kids and their kids.
Mark, your government has been criticised for your amount of spending. Are you comfortable that you can start bringing this down?
Well, we haven't got a plan to pay down debt. We've been paying down debt. We've been doing it. $200 billion.
Mark.
It would have been $1 trillion 3 years ago if we'd simply followed the course that the former government was following.
Oh, you're using COVID numbers and you're still spending like it's the pandemic.
Okay, hang on, Jane. Yes?
It would have been $1.2 trillion if we'd done nothing over the last 4 or 5 budgets. We delivered back-to-back surpluses. Those upward revisions to our revenue that Jane rightly talked about, we've banked more of that than any government before us, more than the Howard government, certainly more than the coalition government. So, yes, we've got to do more. These are tough economic times for governments, for businesses and certainly for households. And I think all of us are trying to deliver the best possible budgets.